A man Z desperately needs to pee. Just as he's about to unzip, his best friend B clings to his fly, preventing him from relieving himself. His reasoning: letting his friend Z pee would weaken B. Now Z faces a dire dilemma: endure the agony of a bursting bladder or pee all over B. This absurd scenario highlights the impossible choices forced upon Ukraine as it grapples with the need to defend itself while being held back by its supposed allies' restrictions. Will Ukraine find a way to resolve this crisis, or will it continue to suffer in silence?
Welcome to TFI Global, the antidote to mass delusion.
Ukraine's fate is now at the mercy of the US Congress, and things haven't looked this grim since Russia's initial invasion in early 2022. Take, for example, the latest Russian push towards Kharkiv. They are not trying to conquer Ukraine's second largest city, but are making it clear that Ukraine is paying dearly for America's and its own delays in preparation. Meanwhile, Biden's administration looks on helplessly, unable to enable Kiev to strike back at Russia directly. The battlefield around Kharkiv has seen dramatic swings. The Russian nearly took the city in 2022, only to pull back amid faint hopes of peace. When that fell through, Western media triumphantly declared a Ukrainian counteroffensive had pushed the Russians out. But now, the Russians are back, casually planting flags wherever they please. Putin's current force of 30,000 to 50,000 soldiers isn't there to seize Kharkiv. Instead, they are focused on creating a buffer zone to protect Russia's own border. Ukrainian forces have been pestering the citizens of Belgorod, just 40 miles north of Kharkiv, and Putin wants to put a stop to these pesky attacks. By bringing Kharkiv within range of Russian artillery, Putin can make the city uninhabitable without actually taking it. Additionally, he is softening up Ukrainian defenses in preparation for the next phase. The main Russian offensive this spring and summer is expected to focus on the Donbas region, not Kharkiv. The objective? Capture as much territory as possible, with attacks on key locations like Chasiv Yar already underway. Moscow's strategy seems to be banking on Ukraine's lack of manpower and firepower to defend everywhere at once. If Ukraine diverts its limited resources to protect Kharkiv, it becomes more vulnerable in the east. This situation in Kharkiv highlights Russia's broader strategy and underscores the dire straits Ukraine currently faces. So as Ukraine scrambles to defend itself, one can only wonder, is there a plan B, or are they just winging it? Right now, Kiev is in that awkward phase where US aid has been approved but hasn't quite arrived yet. Until then, Ukrainian forces are scrambling for everything from bullets to artillery to air defenses. President Zelensky and Ukrainian lawmakers, ever the procrastinators, delayed mobilizing more troops and building fortifications. Sure, they are digging in now, but it's a bit like building an umbrella during a rainstorm. While there's plenty of blame to go around in Kiev, let's not forget the American elephant in the room. It wasn't exactly a secret that Russia was gearing up to encircle Kharkiv, although the timing did catch Ukraine off guard. Yet Kiev's hands were tied because the US has this quaint rule against using American weapons for cross-border attacks. In practice, this means Ukraine cannot use its shiny new HIMARS to blow up Russian ammo dumps just across the border, nor can it deploy long-range missiles against targets within Russia. Even US-provided air defenses are off limits for targeting Russian aircraft that are bombing Ukrainian positions with impunity from their own airspace. This policy is a head-scratcher for Zelensky, but a masterstroke of caution for Biden. Joe Biden's rationale is that using US weapons on Russian soil would escalate the conflict. Putin, always the showman, exploits this fear by threatening to strike NATO countries if such weapons are used. Biden understands that any escalation could turn this into a full-blown Russia-NATO war, something he'd rather avoid. After all, he's already got the Afghanistan debacle on his record. Losing Ukraine would be like handing Trump the Oval Office keys on a silver platter. Not everyone shares Biden's cautious approach. The UK, now a shadow of its former military glory, has openly said it won't stop Ukraine from using British arms for cross-border attacks. empty vessels, as they say. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz keeps his advanced Taurus missiles tucked away, perhaps saving them for a rainy day.